Hello class. Today we are going to learn how to draw from observation. I have these two animal cards that I'm going to use for my video. You will need a sharpened pencil. I'm using one of the ebony pencils. You're going to need an eraser. And if you want to follow along with the same thing that I'm using, you can get one of these worksheets that has the frog and the bird pictures that I'm going to use for reference. First thing you need to do is block in the shapes that you see in the object you are looking at. My object happens to be the frog and the bird. I'm going to start with the frog. On the frog, you'll see the basic body shape as a circle. You're going to notice elongated ovals, almost rectangular in form for the arms. And you will see that there's also water that is he is floating around underneath that we're going to have to pencil into. The bird, the whole body reminds me of a teardrop. You could do the belly as an oval and then the head on top, but when you look at this one, you happen to notice that it kind of all blends together as one big shape. So you need to figure out the basic shapes of whatever it is that you are drawing so you can start there. It helps me sometimes to air draw on top of the animal I'm doing or the object I'm doing to feel the shape of it and then go onto my paper. So I go back and forth. That helps me get the right size. You see how I went a couple of times and the lines are kind of curved, layered on top of each other? That's okay, you're blocking it in. You can always erase later on. Sometimes I make it too big and then I go back and I fix and I just leave that excess there. I don't need to worry about it. I'm getting ready for my picture. So I'm sketching it out. I'm going to look and see where the arms are. Block in the basic shapes of my arms. I'm noticing in my frog here that the arm and the leg are pretty close together. So if this is the top of my arm, my leg kind of comes directly across from that. And my leg is much, much longer than my body. Let's see, my body is 1, 2, 3 of the body shapes take up from the top of the leg all the way to where the toes are. So if I was to measure that at 1, 2, 3, it would come all the way out to here. You can do measurements like that too to help you out with whatever it is you're drawing. Figuring out the size of it is hard, so sometimes using measurements can help. So at the top of my leg, here's the middle of my leg from the knee. See, the knee has it bending out, so I'm looking at the top part of my leg first. Here's the little knee. From the knee to the toes, I have this long oval for that. And then here's the foot. Okay, so I did 1, 2, 3 sections there. 1, 2, 3 sections of shapes to help me figure out how long that leg's going to be. It's pretty long, huh? I guess it's got some very powerful swimming feet. Very strong legs. Alright, so I have the basic shapes down. Now I can work on something called the contour line. The contour line is the outside edge, which is what makes it look very realistic because it can be very bumpy. It can be very detailed. So I'm going to stare then. I'm going to stare then at these outer edges to help me make the correct shape and size of the frog. I see that the side of the body comes out on an angle and connects to the thigh. I see that there's bumps up and down. And what else do I see? I see that the edge of this frog has a bump before it hits the belly. bump, and then there's the belly. So I'm going around and I'm darkening the lines that I'm going to keep. I'm ignoring the lines that I'm not going to keep. I'm checking for curves. I'm checking for anything that could make it look more unique and detailed. So far, I have darkened the curviness of the leg bumping out. I've darkened the side that bumps out where the mouth is going to be. I've made the belly the correct roundness. I'm going through and looking at the toes, and I'm looking at the webs of the toes. Some are longer, some are shorter. This top of the foot here is very straight. There's the basic outside shape of my feet. I'm going to the eyes. They're above the circle that I did. I am looking at the inside of the mouth here. It goes directly below the eyes. All these little detail lines in here. I'm pulling it up again so you can see it again. This cut in, this went above the circle that we did that blocked in the shape of the froggy. Went all the way around, and I went through and I looked at the outside edge of all the web feet. I'm not showing any of the details with the spots yet. I'm not showing any of the details of all the lines coming in for the toes being so long. This is the outside line, the outside webbing, that clear webbing between the toes. I'm not doing any detail yet. I'm not doing any shading yet. I'm not showing any value of lights and darks. I'm just working on the outside lines. This might take some time. This might take you the whole period, because you want to make sure this is just right before you have to worry about detail. Wouldn't that be annoying if you were to have to erase all the shading that you did and all the spots and details that you did because you noticed one of your lines was not correct? And if you're seeing that you have to erase a lot, that's good. You know why? Because now you're training your eyes to notice the tiny little uniquenesses of all of this. It'll become easier as you go then. I saw on this outside line that my froggy's finger was really long here and shorter here, and this one had a little crooked bend to it, and the top of the arm connected to this little toe. I'm noticing here on this foot that the tips of the fingers, or if they're really cold fingers, I don't know, froggy hand, they're bent, like it's grabbing onto something. And I'm noticing that the hands, the one on this side here, the long finger, is a little bit longer than the other one. So when I drew it, I wanted to make sure that it was a tiny bit longer than the other arm. It's like, that's how it makes it look like it's reaching out so far. So it seems like I have all of my outline worked on. I see that I need to make this little toe thinner. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to edit. This little toe here needs to be thinner and pointier at the end, so I'm going back and I'm editing. And this is where you can start erasing. Erasing things that you no longer need. Like I no longer need all of those practice guidelines that made my froggy round, that put my legs where they're supposed to be. I don't need those guides anymore. Erase, erase, erase. I don't need any of that. Anything that I'm editing, I can fix now with an eraser. There we go. Guideline goodbye. Guideline goodbye. Alright. So before you watch the next video, which will be on adding detail and adding in shading and shadows to make it look rounded and three-dimensional, before you do that, you want to finish all of the erasing of the guidelines. You want to finish laying out any line details that you want. So if you need to fix the toes, if you need to fix something on the head, go for it. And then add your backgrounds. So today you could, while you work on this, you could show where the water is going to be, and you just look at the lines. When you look on the lines here on top of the water, you'll see that there is a dark line and a light line. So you're going to lightly draw in where those waves are going to be. They're going to come up around the eyes. How far up the eyes are they going to be? Looks to me like the eyes are looking right above the water, so I'm going to make that line, that guideline, right below the top of the eye. Some's dark, some will be light. That's how it gets to look like the top layer of the water is noticeable. And if you don't want to do the froggy laying underwater, put the froggy on something else. Like maybe the froggy is jumping on top of a fishbowl. Get creative with it, okay? Have fun drawing the contour line of either the frog or the bird or another animal part you picked.